From the PSIA-AASI Satellite Studios in Portland, Oregon, I'm George Thomas. You're listening to First Chair, and we have got a very interesting lineup for you today. We're visiting with PSIA-AASI CEO Jeffrey Lifgren and also PSIA-AASI Board Chair John May. Jeff, John, thank you both so much for taking the time to chat with us this morning.
Awesome. Great to be here, George.
John, I'd like to start with you giving a quick intro, and I know this is like your life story compressed into 5 minutes, but I'd love for you to give the membership kind of a rundown of becoming an instructor and the journey you took from starting to teach all the way to becoming board chair. Can you just give us, again, kind of the steps of your journey along the way?
So I heard there was a time limit on this one, so we'll give the Cliff Notes version. I came, I saw, I'm still struggling. No, it's
all right. Next question.
Yeah, the journey to PSA actually started crazy enough with a bike trip across the country that I did coming out of college, and we came through the Pacific Northwest and just kind of fell in love with that area. And after college, I was doing business consulting and ended up taking a sabbatical, heading out to your mountain, George, and was out at Mount Hood and taught there full time. Lived in Hood River and did the full-time gig for a while, then became children's supervisor, and then ended up moving out to Oregon. And then from there, kind of pursued that journey that we all go through, I think, trying to go through our certs and our credentials, and was lucky enough to be able to get onto ed staff and then onto our technical team here in the Northwest, and eventually an examiner as well out here in the Northwest. So just recently retired from the technical team, still do ed staff and examiner pieces, but in parallel was also working with the board and been on the board for quite a while, doing that in the Northwest, and eventually was honored to be able to do the national director role for Northwest at National, and been there for I think about 12 years. And then through a clerical error, I was able, the group put me in as the chair, which we're still trying to unravel. But until that gets fixed, Jeff and I are just going to play this out. But, you know, essentially over the years, it's been pretty interesting. We've seen the evolution of the experience in PSI over the last 2 decades through multiple CEOs, multiple focuses, but also some common themes across education, and ultimately trying to serve that member and that member school. So on the national board, I've been through that treasurer role, different committees. I think the only board member to do 3 CEO searches. And so I think we got this one right. And we're super excited for Jeff. And now the other CEO searches were good, but we have seen an evolution, and we're going to talk about that today, that this organization is coming together more and more. Instead of having a national and a regional, how do we actually blend that where we support each other to kind of service those members and those member schools? So there's the high level journey. I currently reside in Portland, Oregon, and past George's house probably on the regular that we just don't know about as I head up to Hood and back over the winters.
Well, John, thank you so much. Jeff, would love for you to jump in now. Jeff, relatively new CEO. John, just starting out as board chair. This sounds like a real opportunity for the membership. As the membership, what can we see from the two of you coming up in the next few months, and then over the next few years? And I know that's as broad a question as we can get, but I'd really like for this to become much more a discussion between the two of you, and I'm just kind of here to guide it a little bit. But I'd really like to hear both of your thoughts without me interrupting you. Jeff, let's start with you.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, George. I think that what has been really apparent in my about 8 months now in this role is that the national board really has a plan specifically for the next 12 months of what they would like me to focus on. And they've been very clear with me coming out of the hiring process and out of our June board meeting, what the 3 kind of things that they want me to really focus on as our strategic priorities for FY26. And that really is like, we need to stabilize our IT systems. Our association management software system has been not where it needs to be to actually take care of our members. So number 1, really take care of that IT systems. Number 2 was really focusing on the regions as clients and our guests, and trying to define what is the premier experience that we can deliver for all of our clients. So the regions, the individual members, the ownership groups, and the member schools. Like, so focusing on the regions and the members. And then the third thing is really, how do we become data driven? How do we use facts to really drive the decision making that we're doing? It's really easy to have an opinion. Sometimes your opinions don't line up with the facts and what the data is telling you, but the national board has been very clear with me, like, we got to get IT stable. We have to focus on the regions and the members, and we have to do it with facts and be data driven. And so, John, maybe you could give a little bit of background to how we got there, but that's really what they're asking me to deliver the next 12 months.
Yeah, if we had to encapsulate, maybe the major pivotal shift that's occurred is how the national board wants to come to the table for the members. And that shift is this, George. We are expressly saying that if we're here to serve the members and the member schools, who are the experts in that space? The experts are the regions. They're the ones that give that on snow experience. They're facilitating the education, the exams, the business. And so the shift and pivot is to say, if we really want to support members and member schools, let's do it through the regions. And let's look at them and treat them like they're our clients, and that we are here to help them be successful. Sometimes we kind of had maybe agendas that were in parallel, but not in sync. And so the shift is to say, boy, if those are the experts, how can we support them, rather than maybe competing for who the expert is? When you talk on snow and the members' lived experience, that is the regions, man, they do that so well. Let's help support them. And one of the biggest things they relied on was our IT systems. And we, as a client provider, were not as strong as we could be in that space to help them make the job easier, to give a greater member experience. And so that's where our focus is going. But this is a game changer in perspective. It's really a servant leadership role now to the regions and acknowledging them as the experts on the on-snow experience.
Just a quick pause to say, you may qualify for a scholarship from the PSIA-AASI Education Foundation. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out on your instructor journey, head to the Professional Development tab on the snowpros.org to learn more and apply now.
And Jeff, when you were coming in and interviewing for the position, and I'm sure this was talked about a lot during your hiring process, how were you taking that on? Because, I mean, this sounds like a whole new position.
Yeah, for sure. George, I would say that my background coming up through the Vail Resort system and working in a matrixed organization that was, global, in my roles and overseeing multiple resorts in different locations around the country, it really gave me an opportunity to see how different resort operators conducted their business and how they could come together. What was the same? What are the things that they share in common? What are the differences in the things that they did that we could then say, okay, out of these different experiences or the different ways that we provide experiences to our guests, how do we take the best of that and then maybe move some stuff to the side and say, that's actually not the most important thing right now, and how do we focus on what's the same? I really believe that it's the same with what we call the Executive Leadership Council, which is the regional CEOs. There's so many things that they do the same, so many focuses that are exactly the same. Are there some nuanced differences about the members in those regions or what those experiences look like? Of course there are. But at the heart of it, really, it's the same things that they're doing. And so when I sit with those executive leaders, we try to really focus on what are we doing the same, or how can we take the best of what someone does and apply that to what someone else is doing. And so I think it's been a pretty natural transition, actually, from working in such a large company like Vail into this organization and having that experience of having to interact with multiple stakeholders in multiple places who all have a very different or nuanced perspective of what's going on. I think it's been very beneficial. And I think that if you ask the XLC members, all of those regional CEOs, they would tell you that I hope they would tell you that they're working better together now than they ever have. And it's obvious in the 8 months that I've been here The tone of the conversations is different. The product that's coming out of those meetings is much different than it was just 6 months ago.
I mean, John, this is really the first time what I'm about to say. We haven't been talking about sliding on snow on two pieces of equipment or one, snowboard and skis. You're really talking about communication and getting information out to the membership and across to the different divisions and regions. This is a big change and a big task. And you've been a part of the board for quite some time, now board chair, but how long has this been in the works?
I think the intent has always been there, George, right? We sometimes forget something, is members don't have to be a part of PSIA to be able to go ski and snowboard. Members do not have to be a part of PSIA and ASI to teach snow sports. We sometimes forget that. Really, but what they do need us for is, and they seek us, is self-development and community. And so we're like, boy, what are the best ways and mechanisms to do that? And that is national and regions. And the regions provide that on snow amazing experience. And sometimes I think we may have lost focus, or we thought sometimes like, oh, it has to be about the technical and the skiing. Actually, it's about the community and the self-development. And so in wanting to be of great service, Jeff and I also bringing this thing of like, just because we have the title or the responsibilities, who are the experts though that we should bring into those conversations? And so the more and more we explore these new topics, IT, regions, we're trying to bring in the experts in the room rather than say that's all of us to decide and figure out. And so that's been the shift that's evolving, George, is, boy, we all have these responsibilities as board members and operations, but who are the experts who can help guide us in making really well-informed decisions to help with self-development and with community?
Jeff, what I'm getting from both you and John is that the leaders are really here as servants of the membership.
Yeah, 100%. I think that, to John's point, like how do we really leverage the information that we have to make great decisions in service of our members, whether it's an individual member or a member school or a region, maybe it's an industry partner like NSAA or NSP. One of the things that we did this year is we actually didn't do a national survey of the membership. And the reason was that we felt like while the data we had collected in the past was valuable, that maybe there was a different way to do it. And so we actually went with our marketing communications director, Catherine Fuller, and searched out a new vendor for us to do surveys. And we're going to start with member schools and really try to focus on what is it that the member schools want from our association? How can we deliver to them the things that they need to be successful in their business? And I think that that's a little bit of a shift away from the individual members. It doesn't mean that we're not going to come back and talk to the individual members, but we want to talk to the schools first and find out what it is that we can do to help them to be better at their impact with the guest and their business. And so that's actually started already, and it's ongoing. And I can't wait to see what comes out of that type of work, because I think it's a little different than what we've done in the past.
John, anything to add?
That is another beautiful strategic plan that Jeff's putting forward, is to really look into our member schools, resorts, and industry to figure out what's important to them and what's, because we've always been so very dominant on just the individual member. This has been a missing piece to bring it up to parity. So I'm super excited about Jeff's vision for this, and his background lends beautifully to helping us all better understand that space so we can be a better service.
And Jeff, what do you see coming up? Actually, this question is to both of you as we start to wrap up, but what do you see coming up that we as members and member schools might notice as a season starts in a few months? I mean, it's just almost fall already.
Yeah, it really is almost fall. Actually, we had a meeting yesterday talking about team training, which is, I can't believe I'm going to say this, like 7 weeks away. So like that's coming up fast. I think that what you'll see for this year, like you're not going to see anything that's like super sexy coming from the association. Hopefully what you'll see is some foundational things with our IT systems being more responsive. But I think that the main thing you'll see is you're going to see us be more communicative with the information that we are gleaning from these member surveys from the schools. And then when we get the information to then send out a member survey, we're going to be sharing all of that so that we can bring the entire membership along on this journey with us. It's not going to be something where we collect all of these things and then we say, oh, by the way, here's all the changes. Hopefully it's going to be, hey, here's what you told us. This is what we believe we should do. Do you understand? Great. This is the process we're going to go through to change something or to add something, and bring the whole membership along with us and not just sort of drop it on everyone. I think that's the biggest change that you'll see this year.
John, anything to add?
No, and to back up Jeff, the board's directive is pretty explicit. The next 12 months is about stabilizing the back end and the foundations of the organization, so we are staged to really deliver premier member experiences going forward. We have some issues in the back end that we got to clean up, and that's the focus for the next 12 months.
Well, one way I would love to communicate some of these with the membership is by having regular check-ins with the two of you on this podcast. Really looking forward to that, and I really want to thank you both for taking time out of your day to chat with us right now.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for having us, George.
From the PSIA-AASI Satellite Studios in Portland, Oregon, I'm George Thomas. Thanks for listening to First Chair.